Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to wall trick. The wall trick is one of the most important mechanics in LDoE. You need to learn it to kill things like the frenzied giants in Bunker Alpha, and it just saves you a ton of armor, heals and meds. So firstly I'm going to go through types of walls. Here I'm using a medium-ish wall, and there's three categories: soft, medium and hard. A soft wall is where a zombie can hit you despite it seeming that he's punching you through the wall. A medium wall is where there's a slight area where the zombie can punch you through the wall, and a hard wall is if there is no line of sight between you and the wall, the zombie punch won't reach. This is a medium wall because I'm standing here. A soft wall I probably would be hit. Here I'm not getting hit, but here when there's barely line of sight I'm getting hit, which wouldn't happen in a hard wall. And this concept is very important because 9 times out of 10 hard walls are the best for wall tricking, because it is clear then where you will and will not get hit, and also where you can and can't hit a zombie, saving you time and eliminating any confusion you might have to make sure you don't accidentally get hit or killed by a zombie, especially when you're working with frenzied giants or other heavy hitters. So here is an example of a hard wall because I'm very close to the wall's edge and the zombie's still not hitting me. Like here, I really should be getting hit on most walls. I did get hit there, but if it's also slightly back, so there's clear-ish sight, and yet he's still not hitting. So that means that it's quite obvious to tell if you're in a range if you're in a position where the zombie can hit you or not. And yeah, if you're going to wall trick, these are by far the best walls because there's no confusion and it reduces your chances of getting hit. Another example, this is a soft wall. Usually doors like this are soft walls, and you can tell this is a soft wall because of how little I was showing there. I was basically fully behind the door, and yet the frenzied giant still hit me. So I'm going to take him to the hard wall where he's easier to deal with. Usually the bigger doors, like the ones that aren't actually doors, they're like sort of shutters or terminal controlled doors, are hard. But there's always a bit of individuality between doors, so the best way to find out which doors are the best for wall tricking is just by doing your bunker alpha consistently and learning it through trial and error. Second important thing about wall tricking is that it can be done on corners too. Corners like the one right after the gas that comes up periodically on floor 2, and corners like this I'm about to show you are very good for wall tricking, even though they're not really walls, because you can easily angle the zombies. There's also one coming up later which is by the turret on floor 3, but we're on the right end. Here you can see I didn't bother going to the soft wall that is right north, because it's honestly easier to use the corner, but you've just got to be versatile and realise that you don't need to find the wall necessarily if you have the corner like this open, because this was a pretty easy job. So here is the corner I was talking about next to the turret. As you can see, it's quite a good area to wall trick, as even with a low speed weapon like the sword blade, I still managed to make it work. Which brings me on to my third tip: use high speed melees. So I prefer to use cleavers. Cleavers and crowbars are the best options, I would think, for early game players. The crowbar, because it is cheaper, but if you can manage to fully mod your cleaver, you get 22 damage instead of the usual 17, and a decent chance of a 40 critical hit, which means wall tricking will just be faster and easier, again saving time. The cleaver does however have a shorter range than the crowbar, which means that you're going to need to be a bit more skilled with it, but it is still a very good option. You can use weapons like the machete and the pipe, but these are slightly slower, and yes, while they do more damage, they are also more expensive, so not as optimal for wall tricking if your main intention is to save resources. And I'm gonna reuse this clip for my fourth point, which is the importance of sinking zombies. So if you have more than one zombie, like I do here, 2 toxic bombs, you want them to be punching you in the same rhythm, so it sounds like one fluid hit, because this means that you have a full time scale in order to make your move and hit them, leaving the cover of the wall before they swing at you again. If they are not synced, you have a much shorter window of time to make your move, meaning it's much harder to complete the wall trick. Now, if they are not synced, what you can do is what I'm doing here, slightly moving away, just to trigger the one that's furthest back to move, nudge slightly forward, and this will likely sync his move up with the other zombie, and you can just keep on doing this until they are synced. You can always run away to a backup wall if you just have failed to sync them in time and you've run out of wall space. My fifth tip is about a concept known as pulling. So I'm going to use this floater bloater to demonstrate. When I click the attack button, my character moves forward as like a jerk reaction. This is because of the cleaver's range, and this is what I mentioned earlier about cleaver being a short range weapon, making it sort of harder to use. If you are ever pulled into an attack, back out of it, bail, otherwise you most likely will take a hit. And if you're consistently getting pulled into things like frenzied giants, that is a very dangerous thing and it could easily kill you. So if you see that your character is starting to get pulled, you need to readjust your wall position to make sure that you can hit the zombie and it's well within range with your current position. My sixth tip is going to be practice, practice, practice. As I mentioned earlier, Bunker Alpha, doing it consistently is undoubtedly the best way to level up and progress in this game. And wall tricking is a key part of Bunker Alpha because it's the only way you can kill frenzied giants without using guns. The best way to practice is doing it yourself. As I said, I said cleavers and fast-paced melees are good, but if you can master wall trick with a slow swinging weapon like a road sign, a sledgehammer or a saw blade, you are putting yourself in very good stead for just getting familiar with the movement. And because this weapon is much more punishing, if you mess up the time frame in which you attack, you will get hit. So it improves your discipline with wall trick and makes sure that you get used to the movement and the idea of doubling back on yourself. My seventh and final tip is, once you practice, you can learn things like the double hit, which if you mess it up, as you can see here, it's bad, but you can get 2 hits in a time frame if you get used to the timing and master it well. And if you can do this consistently, it just saves so much. It's satisfying and it saves a lot of time on doing your wall trick, because it can be quite a lengthy process. But even on soft walls like this, it's quite harder to do. It's better on hard walls like the previous frenzied giant, but it is a very good skill to learn. Not necessary, but a good thing to have. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this has helped you all out if you are struggling to wall trick. And if you did find it enjoyable, let me know in the comment section. Let me know if voiceover videos are good in your opinion, and please leave a like, and thank you for watching.